Has Luke Walton lost the locker room? Who are the surprise breakout players this year? Will the Cavs make a deal to improve their roster? The only question left is, say it with me, you win? Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to the B-Ball Breakdown podcast / live show. I think that we have another issue. Wirecast is giving us some problems, so we had to go back to Skype, and of course, it's frozen. But you can hear you, Dave. Is that right?
I think people can hear me. I hope they can hear me.
I think yes. I can hear you, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I would not want to deprive them of hearing my voice.
Yes, and so we'll have to just sort of focus on the fact that you're looking down in a very pensive look, like you're considering what we're talking about very deeply, and well, that's fine. So, at any rate, let's get into it. Let's talk a little bit about the NBA, shall we? We also want to make sure we're going to cover all your questions in the Periscope comments and even on Twitter if you want to ask that. So let's break down. Let's get into it. We're going to talk. I think we thought maybe to begin with we can briefly mention some thoughts about Lonzo Ball and what he was saying in the news within Rick Carlisle's response. Do you want to take it off first?
Oh, you mean Lavar Ball?
What did I say?
You said Lonzo.
Oh, I did. Okay, Lavar Ball. Forgive me.
Yeah. So Lavar basically intimated that Luke Walton is losing the locker room, that nobody wants to play for him. That's the exact quote that kind of caused the firestorm. Now, I have actually brought this up with you as well, in addition to other folks, that it's weird to me that a team this young is having team meetings. And, you know, it's sort of like there is a huge amount of dysfunction going on in the Laker organization in general. I think the way the front office is handling things is a little weird. If you've got these young players, what incentive do they have to play for you when they know, it's not like you're dealing with veterans that know they're on the way out. You're dealing with young guys that know they're on the way out.
All right. Well, you're talking about like
different.
Julius Randle?
Like Julius Randle and stuff like that. So, I just think that the way that they're kind of stringing these guys along is not great. And I think like the best thing that could have happened is if Lakers front office would have just kept his mouth shut. And I don't mean like right now. I mean just from the time they took over.
Okay.
Anyway, so what you've got is LeVar Ball says that Luke Walton, nobody wants to play for him. And actually, I'll read the whole thing. He doesn't have the control of the – Luke doesn't have control of the team no more. They don't want to play for him. That's a good team who, they lost 9 straight. Nobody wants to play for him. I can see it. No one high fives when they come out of the game. People don't know why they're in the game. He's too young. He ain't connecting with them anymore. You can look at every player. He's not connecting with one player.
Right.
That's the thing right there.
Now, here's the funny thing, is I saw another interview after that where it was a lot more subdued and a lot more like, he wasn't really saying much of anything like that. And when I had to go back and find those quotes, it was a little bit more surprising to me because when I first heard what was going on, I quickly scurried to the internet to read it or to see what was going on. He definitely seemed to have tempered it. Someone must have talked to him after that. But I also feel like, so his point is, they lose 9 in a row. Of course, anyone's going to fall apart on that. No one's going to listen to the coach anymore after 9 in a row. My boys have never lost 9 in a row or lost 9 games in their whole high school career. But what I did hear in the interview later on with Jeff Goodman on the couch was that he hadn't even really talked to Lonzo about this. And if he's all the way in Lithuania now, like how the hell does he even know? Is he just watching TV? He doesn't see high fives? That's what I don't understand. I think he's talking out of his ass.
Yeah, well, so LeVar Ball and Donald Trump have a lot in common, and that's as far as I'm going to go on that one. It's not shocking to me that both of these guys have seen like a rise in their fortunes at the same time. Let's just put it that way. So anyway, so you had that situation, and that's pretty shitty because it puts Lonzo in a terrible position. And so of course they asked Lonzo about it, and Lonzo has to, play the good soldier, but also the good son, and it just sucks. I feel bad for him being caught in the middle of it. And with that being said, Rick Carlisle had, he took offense. Basically, he's taking offense to LeVar Ball getting as much attention as he gets, and this kind of triggered it. Now, we've seen him get a little testy about coaches and being criticized in the media before. He is the president of the Coaches Association, so he has a vested interest in protecting his guys and whatnot. But the story, I don't know if you saw this, where was it Sam Amico said that a source told him that there were certain coaches that are going to start pressuring their PR folks to pull credentials on reporters that do stories or interview LeVar Ball. See, that's the slippery slope part of this. I don't think Rick Carlisle is going to do that, because I think Rick Carlisle's been around a long time. And he understands that that's not how you get things done.
Right.
But to me, I'd go the opposite way. I would say let's give them more access so they have better stories to report. LeVar Ball is just like, if us, the reading populace, would quit looking at this stuff, the LeVar Ball goes away. It's not interesting anymore.
I get you. But by the way, I do want to make sure that it's clear what Rick Carlisle was really criticizing, because it looks like to me that he's really upset with ESPN.
Right.
Less
right.
LeVar. And so what he wrote in his the full transcript of what he had said was, this is Rick Carlisle's words, I view the recent ESPN article as a disgrace, quite honestly. Luke Walton is a terrific young coach who is bringing along a young team, and it's a difficult task. If you don't believe it, just ask me. We're going through it now, and we've been through it last year. So ESPN is an NBA partner, and they've been a great one. But part of that partnership, the coaches do a lot of things to help them with access, interviews, and all those kind of things. So in exchange, they should back up the coaches. And I don't know if that's not what ESPN's in. That's not their business.
No,
and that's not what they're in business for. So, it is news. A father of a player is criticizing the coach. Of course that's going to be news. Of course, they lose 9 in a row. That's part of what should be in your contract as a coach, is that you are going to take shit from all sides everywhere. And here's one thing, interesting thing. I didn't think LeVar really was, even though he's a loudmouth and brash and going to be all these things, I didn't think it was going to be a big issue at the NBA level. It just feels like these are adults. This is a whole new level of whatever. Is it really an issue? I mean, I know we're talking about it, but is it really a thing?
Listen, if I were the Lakers, I would have a strict no comment policy, and that's for every player, meaning Lonzo as well. No comment. And if you break it, it's a fine, and it's a hefty fine. That's where I would go with it. No, we have no comment on LeVar Ball. That's it. That's the point that you're at, because it is a distraction. This is a young team. They're not a good team either. They're going to be bad. But who's going to, like, this summer, what free agents going to want to come join that circus? And you look at, think about it. Like, people are thinking LeBron James is coming there. I'm sorry, man. LeBron's not dealing with that kind of mess. That just ain't going to happen.
That's interesting. So you think that LeBron James and everyone you hear, and I didn't even know LeVar was saying that LeBron is going to go to L.A. to the Lakers. You think that would be a sticking point for LeBron, where he simply wouldn't go because of the father?
I don't think LeBron is going to be kept out of L.A. because of LeVar Ball. Like, LeVar Ball is not going to dictate anything to LeBron. But what I mean is, if you look at how the organization is mishandling this, it's not exactly painting this picture of an organization that's like professional and ready to roll. They've obviously got some culture issues. I mean, you don't lose 5 years in a row like they have and not have culture issues, but then with this other stuff now happening, and they're just doing a terrible job taking care of it. I think that, there's an issue. There's a problem. And the one time that LeVar has kind of crossed paths with LeBron kind of sunned him. So, I'm not saying that LeBron's not going to go to LA because of LeVar Ball, but it's not going to get him there.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, we could talk about that for a second as well, as far as the choice LeBron would make to go to LA, which I would think would be. There's a narrative there where, okay, if he goes there and he wins, okay, now he's won in 3 different teams, then that maybe gets him over Michael Jordan or something like that. But geez Louise, he wants to go into the Lions Den, where he's going to have to deal with, Houston and San Antonio and Golden State. There's nothing like that in the East. It's like I can't understand why he would ever consider going to the West, no matter what. But I mean, unless he was going to join the Warriors or join the Rockets.
Oh my God! Could you imagine if somehow like he
Yeah.
went to the Warriors?
Yeah, I mean, again, it would be fun to some degree, but it also, yeah, that would just be it. LeBron going to the Warriors, and by the way, I don't know what that means. That must mean Clay leaves or whatever. That they'd still win 80 games or something crazy like that.
Yeah, it'd be crazy.
So,
it'd be insane.
Well, we have a question about Lonzo Ball's shot that I wanted to get in there by R. Hicks, who was asking on Twitter and here. The last 8 games, and I could probably go back even farther, Lonzo Ball is shooting 42.9% from 3 on 7 attempts per game. And if that ain't elite and that ain't something to look at and go, okay, then I don't know what is. And so we've talked about this before, and there is some subtle differences, I think, with his preparation that have helped his rhythm. So I think we had said it was a matter of time until he can get comfortable and make them. I think here we are, where there is no need to change what he's doing mechanically much.
I still worry about his margin for error. With his shot. That was the one thing that you and I actually talked about. We were like, the shot itself is fine, but the margin for error just is very slim. He uses a lot of his offhand, uses a lot of his thumb. And when you do that, like Steph Curry is like the only thumber that does it almost perfectly every single time.
Oh, wait a minute. Well, we can fight about this.
Okay, I mean, Larry Bird, I guess.
Yeah, well, no, there's a lot of thumbers out there that were really good shooters that haven't been able to figure it out.
But all right, but I mean,
listen, if you want to talk about
high volume stuff like that,
but when you're looking at his stuff, the thumb is probably the last thing you might look at as far as what he's doing and how he's shooting outside of space.
Yeah, absolutely.
The biggest issue I had was that he was leaning forward as he's bending his knees down to go up, so his torso was almost in front of his feet. And now he's got to kind of slingshot back the feet, and everything was getting, the rhythm was off, while the upper body was waiting for the feet to come back and flow forward. He wants to shoot it, but he has to wait, so his whole body was out of rhythm. And he's adjusted that a little bit more, and it looks better. And so, over the last 10 games, it's 40%. I could probably keep going back and see, but certainly there's a real trend here to where he's feeling better about it. The rhythm is there. So, again, I wouldn't touch a thing with it right now. Let him finish out the season and see where we get on a 30, 40-game sample size and figure that out from there.
Yeah. And his off the dribble, they've got him taking a good hard dribble going right. They've got him taking a good hard dribble to get the ball up, and that's helping his gather quite a bit. It's increasing the speed there. There's some weird stuff with his hands. And with finishing, you can see it. It's pretty apparent. But with that being said, he looks a lot better now than he did at the start of the season, which is what you expect. And he was not. We know he wasn't as bad as he started out.
Right. Now, by the way, the other thing we heard from Lonzo Ball, which I had also quoted, although I'm have to kind of try and find it, was they asked him if he liked Luke Walton as a coach, something like that, and his answer really wasn't, the wholehearted, full-throated response that you should hear from a player. Now he's young and maybe he's not quite as polished as he needs to be in those kind of responses. Basically he said, "I'll play for anybody." Was the big quote.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like about I would go with a blanket no comment policy. Take that away. Take that the opportunity for him to have to walk that tightrope. Just take it away. Take it away.
Yeah, right. And and someone say, "Well, what was he supposed to say?" I said, "Well, what you generally learn when you get to the NBA is the kind of answer to that is, I respect the coach. He is the guy in charge. We're all working as hard as we can as a team. You know what I mean? Like those are the phrases they give you to say. And I'm assuming they would have given those to Lonzo too. And when you kind of anything short of that becomes a non-answer, or becomes the opposite, which is like obviously you don't want to play for him. And that's not good either. And that's basically what these writers live for, right? I mean, they're looking for those kind of answers, and they can write a whole 500-word treatise about how he wants Luke Walton to be fired, which is probably not even close to the case.
Right. Exactly. So anyway, but that I'm tired of talking about the Lavar Ball stuff.
Okay, me too. Well, what else we have on tap? Any questions that's flying through the Periscope?
We had a bunch on Twitter. Let me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let me pull those up. The Periscope, people were watching, but the chat is not.
Well, we'll get your questions in. Periscope's even easier. We are experiencing a lull. I feel like we could talk about, Spencer Dinwiddie, just throwing it out there, gets the complete and utter raw deal. I don't know if you watched the end of that Nets game against the Celtics, but it was like the refs decided we're not going to blow whistle for anything. And then they do the 2-minute review and they say that all the calls were fine. And it was like there was 2 or 3 horrible calls down the stretch. They without question should have acknowledged they were bad. And so I don't even know if we should even bother looking at the 2-minute report anymore.
I think I'm kind of with Draymond on the 2-minute report. It might be a waste of time and exercise. We got a question from Brady Cloffer, our friend of the show, friend of the Breakdown.
Brady.
Yeah. What players have surprised you the most with their development this year, and what have they done to create that development and improvement?
Okay, you want to go first?
Sure. I mean, I'll go with the easy one. I'll make you do a hard one. Okay. So Victor Oladipo has improved quite a bit. I don't know what he's done to do this.
Well, we know what he's done. We kind of talked about it, right?
Yeah. His off the dribble shooting has improved quite a bit. He's got the ball more in his hands. I think that helps a lot. And he lost weight, got his body in better shape, and I think he's just conditioning in general is kind of helping him. And conditioning and health. That was kind of a big thing. Remember, he hurt his wrist last year. We saw an improvement, and he hurt his wrist last year, and now we're kind of seeing I would say we're seeing a little bit more of the fruit of that improvement that we saw the start of last year.
Yeah, I'm going to throw this out there because I was talking about PEDs the other day with a bunch of other players in the context, and all I can tell you is that they had that picture side by side for him, but when he started working out, and then 3 weeks later, he was really much more cut. And I talk to some people who think that it's possible. There is one way to do that where you go no carbs, no whatever, and you work out every day.
No carbs, no sugar.
But I'm very dubious, and I'm also, he gives credit to Russ, and Russ I think has a bit of a cloud over his head as well for that kind of stuff. I think with his kind of recovery from the things that he recovered from so quickly and so effectually that it's like. They asked Derrick Rose, back in the day in 2010 to 2011, what, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much of a problem PEDs are. I believe his answer was 11. And so I think that's a really undetected or unreported story. And I think that there might be something there. I don't want to get all cynical in the middle of the season here, but I just thinking about the other day. Even remember when LeBron, after they lost to the Spurs in Miami, and 3 weeks after the season, he looked like a World War II survivor, and he claimed he just had gone off carbs himself when you don't dramatically change your completely the way you look that quickly, short of stopping your training. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not going to touch that one, but
okay.
I think that we would all be naive to think that NBA players are not using PEDs. But I do know that drastically reducing carbohydrates, to the point where you're in, ketosis.
Yeah.
In 3 weeks you can do that. And remember, these are top level athletes, and they've got world-class training staffs and all these other things. So, I don't think that the 3 week transformation we saw from him wasn't crazy. You lose a ton of water weight. And so essentially what you see when you see more definition and stuff is that water is gone. It's one of the things like bodybuilding competitions, that's why they use diuretics and things like that. So
okay.
I'm not
You're right.
of that kind of stuff.
I don't want to light it up completely. That is valid and as well, and that's possible. There's definitely a path where that could happen, normally as well. So okay, fair enough. But I'll jump in here and I'll throw out Spencer Dinwiddie, friend of the Breakdown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
is really becoming a full-fledged, legitimate upper level starter in the league. And what he's missing now is the kind of respect that a player like that deserves. And then down the stretch against the Celtics was really, really bad. He went to the hole hard and got hammered and no call down the stretch. And then they called another foul, I think it was on him with Marcus Smart, that was also to the Phantom. So, but, he's been playing really, really well. And if you give me a second, I'll even tell you what his numbers are. But he's been, and by the way, one of the keys for his transformation is just sort of like just being more aggressive offensively, not being as passive. So he's averaging 13 and 6, and he's shooting 36% from 3. He was actually higher than that for a while. But he's just running the team, so it's been really nice to watch as a guard as D'Lo went down, and he comes in there and fills in, and they're doing okay for right now for Brooklyn. So that's one guy I would definitely spotlight. Anybody else
their defense, their defense has been kind of crazy the last few weeks. They've been like top 5 defense for like the last 3 weeks or something like that. Kind of crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I saw some really good defenses certainly against the Celtics. Really good team defense, rotations, energy. So yeah, whatever they're doing over there is something is happening, and they'll continue to get better. Right now they're 15 and 24, and they're struggling, but they're competitive in a lot of these games, and that's going to make their pick, by the way, a real issue for the Cavs. Wait,
yeah.
The Celtics.
Well,
wait, the Celtics.
The Cavs have the pick.
The Cavs have their pick. Yes, sorry. Yeah. Which trade was that?
That was the Kyrie trade.
Okay, right. Yes, the Celtics had the Nets pick to give it to. So that's an issue, right, for the Cavs.
I think Dinwiddie is a guy that we may see traded. He's on a great contract and signed through next season. They could actually wind up with a pretty decent asset for him. Although I like Dinwiddie a lot himself, but he might be a guy like that people aren't thinking of that might be sort of on the trade block.
That's interesting. Well, he certainly has experience with that as well and jumping to different teams. And so I think either way, he deserves a chance to get comfortable and really, run a team and show people. I would like to see him at least finish the season out and just,
He's a real player. Like, he's a real good player. And, injuries are so tricky, man. If you get injured in college or if you're, like, let's say you're not a high-level draft pick and you're injured in your first couple of years in the league, like, you have to like rehabilitate your image, which is the craziest thing. But if you're the number 1 pick and you're injured, it doesn't have the same stigma. It's really funny.
Yeah.
But because another guy that you and I both love, like Briante Weber.
Yeah.
He had that ACL injury a few years ago, and he's still like, on 10 days and 2 ways and stuff like that. Still struggling for a spot when I think both of us think that he could be the third guard on a good team.
Well, speaking of that team, Gerald Green out of nowhere was playing 2K one week, and next week he's imitating his 2K highlights on the court, just stroking it. And every time I watch that guy, it's like, why isn't he a starter? Why isn't he a firmly ensconced in the league? It is kind of strange. He's a great athlete. He can shoot it. I suppose there must be things behind the scenes we just don't know about. But if you get him in the right situation and you make it positive, and you have the right chemistry between him and his teammates, then you have something there. And man, he's really going to help.
Yeah, I mean, the Rockets are kind of the perfect place for Gerald Green because you've got like the ultraviolet green light.
I like that.
It's just, I don't know, man. It's built for a guy like that that's not scared to shoot, never scared to shoot. So, I think what a great signing. He was a lot of fun the other night in that Warriors game.
Oh yeah. And when we watch the Warriors play and the Rockets and those guys, I think the one thing you notice that's really good is their chemistry and how they work together so well. And if you're interested in that kind of chemistry, when you're dating perhaps, then you got to choose eHarmony because they understand how to match you to someone with that kind of chemistry because they have years of science and data and psychological research to find you the right matches. And I know that's you were able to do that, Dave. In your life, you found the right match, and you had the chemistry. You know how important it is, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Got a little bit of that Stockton and Malone, Pippen and Jordan sort of chemistry going on in my house.
Nice. Complete with the tap on the patting on the butt as they run by.
Every time.
And millions of people have already found their perfect match through eHarmony. And this is not like this is not like Tinder or whatever they call those. This is not like a dating site you're looking for hookups. This is for when you want to find your perfect match. And if right now, if you can get a free month with eHarmony when you sign up for a 3-month subscription, if you enter my code COACH at checkout, COACH, Coach as in Coach Nick, and that's eHarmony. So you definitely should check it out if that's what you're looking for. And you should also stop waiting and start your journey to a satisfying, meaningful relationship. It can be fun to play around with online dating apps, as I know a lot of you out there, I'm sure, are swiping right as we speak. But when you're ready to fall in love with someone and have a meaningful relationship, there's one app that's built to bring you real love, eHarmony. So come see how eHarmony can change your life and go to eHarmony.com and get started. And if you use my code COACH at checkout, then you can get that free month with a 3-month subscription. So find your love, find your chemistry, and find your, fall in love with a podcast again. Hey, and look at that, you're moving. Talking about eHarmony unfroze your camera.
It did. Shout out to eHarmony.
Wow. Thank you. That was really nice of you to do that too. So that was amazing. Here's a question from Joaquin Fair. Guys, what do you think about Ginobili's moment? Should he be at the All-Star game? He was really impressive tonight watching that game. I mean, the numbers, I have to check the numbers, the final stats, they probably aren't like gaudy or anything, but he's still doing his thing. And it's going to be a real help for them in the playoffs without question.
Yeah, man, I love Manu Ginobili. I mean, like one of my favorite players of all time. And so I would love to see him have a final All-Star moment, whatever that means. But the more important thing to me is that he has like a final, playoff moment. I want to see him do some of the stuff he's been doing. He hit 2 game winners in the last few weeks. Tonight he was just incredible, 6 of 9 from 3. To be able to do what he's doing at his age, I don't know, man. I love Manu, so I'm biased. So I'd actually have him start the All-Star game. I think that maybe should be something that they consider maybe doing in the next CBA. Like, do one honorary kind of start, right? Ginobili and maybe Dwayne Wade, right? So this might be, Dwayne Wade's not retiring, but Ginobili probably is. So you have the GMs or the players or someone choose a guy that almost like a lifetime achievement award all-star spot.
Yeah, I like that. I do. Yeah. Capitalize
on the nostalgia of the moment, right? And everyone's all about these tribute videos and retiring guys' jerseys after they played, on a 10-day contract for a team. But if you really want, the All-Star game is an exhibition that's about fun and the fans. So why not just add an extra spot and just throw a guy like Manu out there? He's fun. It's not like it's, I'm not saying put Matt Bonner out there. You know what I mean?
Right. No, but no, it's a great place for Dirk and Manu.
Yeah, exactly.
And Wade.
Yeah. Although, Dirk and Wade are still getting voted in. It's kind of.
Yeah. You know what? I'm so confused right now by the whole process because I know voting from the fans is not 100%.
Yeah, it's 25% or something now.
Right. Well, what's the rest of the 75%?
It's players and
coaches.
Maybe coaches. I'm not sure.
All right. And the coaches, it's still whoever's number one by now gets to be the coach of the All-Star game, right?
Yeah, it's the best record.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway, I don't really care a ton about the All-Star game, but if you're going to have a thing that's basically only exists for the fans, then maybe throw some fun stuff like that in. I also wish today I was watching on YouTube. I was watching when they used to play horse. I watched Pistol Pete and George Gervin, and I think that's kind of a cool thing, man. They could bring something like that back.
Oh, absolutely. They should do that. Hell, they could even do fun 2-on-2 or something like that, or 3-on-3. I don't know, make something interesting where they might actually play a little harder too. So yeah. Now we have a question here, which I'm not even gonna be that great at. With Nick Defoe wants to know what our prediction for the Eastern Conference All Stars. I don't know. I know DeRozan's going to be on there, right?
Yeah, I think Kyrie, DeMar, Giannis, LeBron, and Embiid.
Okay, I can go with that.
Yeah.
And then we got what, KP?
Yeah, I think Porzingis probably makes it. I bet Ben Simmons makes it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if Jason Tatum made it, just because of the buzz around him. I think Horford makes it. John Wall, Bradley Beal.
Sure.
Maybe Kyle Lowry. I don't know. I probably already named 12 guys, 13 guys. So
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but there's a bunch of guys that are deserving. It's funny, man. There's a lot of guys having really good seasons this year, and I'm here for it. I'm glad.
For sure.
Yeah.
Here's another question. Let's see here.
Yeah, I forgot about Oladipo.
Oh, yeah.
Oladipo gets a spot. Oh, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. Do you believe the Warriors still have it easy in the West?
Yeah.
I
do.
mean, I guess so. I mean, Houston, obviously, to me. Oh, by the way, so what? Do we have any more information about the Kawhi shoulder injury?
No, they just said it was a tear, but it's easy. So a tear makes it sound worse than it probably is. Remember, a sprain is a tear.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So they're saying he might play Thursday, so obviously it's not, that bad.
Okay.
But it's just a bummer because he's only been back for 8 games.
Right.
It sucks. This is feeling like a lost season for him.
Well, here's the question: is he now officially injury prone?
Well, you and I actually have talked about this before because he had the elbow thing, he had the eye thing is a little bit more fluke, but the elbow thing was a real big problem. The finger, yeah, I don't know. I think this is more like Bogut type stuff where it's like, gets hurt doing stuff rather than just is hurt. If that makes any sense whatsoever. Like Bogut had a bunch of fluke injuries, like when he broke his elbow.
Right.
Right. And so, yeah.
Right. Well,
I don't know.
Steph,
Right. I'm not going to call him injury prone. I'm not going to do that. Yeah.
I mean, at some point you got to wonder because he's had now multiple seasons where he's had a lot of games, and I know it is a little bit random and freak, but I don't know. It just popped in my head today earlier. I'm thinking about it because it's like, man, it's really too bad because if they can get him healthy, all of a sudden that becomes one of those series where they could. I mean, I don't know. It's funny because it's a different team now, and they rely on a lot of these other younger guys who don't have reputations, and that's gonna. It may or may not hurt them in the playoffs defensively when young players on their first or second year and they're not really well known. Random calls just go against them just for the sake of that the referees don't know them, and it's sad. It's really not fair, but that could be a problem if you have very little margin for error. I think the Rockets though are the ones that would beat them, but it'd be like 126 to 122 every game. It'd be wild, and I can't wait for it to happen. I'm sure it will. It looks like in the conference finals, but I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be that much easier. I think it'll be a little bit harder just because it's also, the fourth year in a row that they're having to try and get there. Fourth year? It's fourth year, right?
Fourth year for
the Warriors. Overall.
Yeah, this will be year 4.
So, and that's just hard. That just becomes harder just by that.
Yeah. All right. So another question. Where was it? Man, I had a question saved, but this new scrolling thing, while it's so much better, it's not amazing. Well, all right. Here's one. Go ahead. One? No, go ahead.
Well, here's one from Kevin Foley who asks, with the Wizards personnel, can they incorporate more 21 action and take more threes? And it's interesting you asked about 21. We just did a nice e-clinic with Dave Severance of the Clippers on 21, which is what the D'Antoni Suns ran more than so they don't really run it. You don't see the Rockets running 21 that much, right?
They've run it a little bit, but it's not like the Suns where it was almost every possession started with a pistol.
Yeah. So, and basically the idea is either you kind of dribble handoff to the wing or you pass the ball to the wing and follow the pass back for a handoff. It's that kind of action at the wing with the point guard and the 2 guard, basically, which is, I think it's why they call it 21.
21, yeah.
And so, I mean, listen, it's a great offense. It's not even, by the way, it's not an offense. That's the thing.
Right.
It's because if you don't get a shot within the first couple of actions, then you have to have an underlying motion or something, or else it's going to die. There's nothing to have out of that. So I love it, though. I think it's a great way to start any offense either way.
Absolutely.
So every team should be using it as much as they can. And,
you can attack early out of 21 or out of pistol. I don't even call it 21. I call it pistol. Yeah. But you can attack early out of pistol. You can actually, if your guys are good screeners, you can get the pistol ahead and set a screen right on the ball, and then you fire it right back to the screener. And I mean, if you've got like Chris Paul and James Harden should be running a lot of pistol. Right.
And by the way, John Wall and Bradley Beal would be unstoppable with it, don't you think?
I worry that Wall's shooting might not be strong enough, but if he's the screener, I don't know. I mean, I still would like to see it. Let's put it that way. Like I'm willing to be wrong about that.
Sure.
But I worry that his shooting might not be enough of a threat. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone should run it. So.
Yeah, I mean, and they have the pieces when you got Markieff Morris and Kelly Oubre and Otto Porter, and these guys can all be drag screeners and they can all be on the weak side spotting up. And you have guys like Gortat who would be perfect in as a drag screener coming out of that too, who can space the floor a little bit and can put the ball on the ground a little bit too. Yeah, they have a really good team for that, which kind of reminds me as we kind of wrap this up. I was talking earlier today about 3-point shooting in general and how it's basically been a stagnant percentage almost the whole league since they've had the 3-point shot. 35, 36% is a league average. It hasn't gone up, and I think a lot of people might be surprised by that, and I want to do a video on this. Figured I'd ask you about this. Do you have any ideas why the 3-point percentage really hasn't moved, even though it definitely feels like we have a lot more good shooters now?
Right. I wonder how much of that just has to do with defense. And then the prevalence of the shot means that more bad shooters are shooting threes. So it sort of just, you get that kind of equilibrium there, right around that 36% mark. Okay. I think that's I would guess that's probably what it is. So you have more bad shooters taking those shots, so it pulls down the more good shooters, so it always evens out.
I would say that's definitely part of it. I also think that even the good shooters take bad shots. And that's the other thing.
Well, they're taking tougher shots for sure. Like, I mean, I bet that off the dribble threes are probably they're the most prevalent now than they've ever been. So, yeah, I think it's just that. It's weird that it settles right around that 36% mark, and we don't get these like big spikes. Like we haven't had a season where it's like 39%.
Yeah. That is weird, and my theory would be, and I can do a video on this too. I think what I'll do is if they could just eliminate like 10 to 12% of the threes they're taking, and these are the ones that are like one pass up in the pass. It's not a drive and a kick. It's not a kick out from the post up. It's not a offensive rebound to kick out. Those if you get rid of some of those, and they're not all. By the way, a lot of them aren't even off a dribble. I think there's a lot of really bad ones that are just really contested off the catch. If you can get rid of those and get better shot selection out for that, and better conceptual a concept of like what a good three is, versus just like, well, we need to take threes, we're going to take them. I think that then we would finally start to see a little bit of a thawing out of that, and it'll go up. But I don't know if it's ever going to happen. But it would be nice if we finally had 15 teams in the league that really stressed how to get good shots. I'm not so sure that the coaches there even stress that. They simply say we need threes.
Right. I mean, this is where you and I talk a lot about leveraging the corners, having those off-ball actions. This is, and I know that I'm going to get killed because I'm going to talk triangle, but some of those triangle principles where you work the strong side with the goal of getting like that lifted shooter on the weak side, only instead of mid-range, you want threes. And so stuff like that, and that's important. And the good offenses do these things. The other offenses where it's just a struggle, those are the ones where it just seems like it's like just shoot the three. And I froze again, and I froze in like a really weird, like it looks like I'm trying to take a bite out of the microphone. So
yeah, that's not too bad. There's worse ways to freeze. You know what? There's some good questions here. I almost feel like maybe we'll go over and we'll do overtime here, and I can maybe trim it out for the podcast. But
yeah,
let's do it because there's some good questions here. Wow, they came in a flurry here. So let's get. What do I think about Miami's nice little stretch they've been on? This is from Brian Carico. What do you think about Miami? Because they've been really not talked about at all this year and sort of completely in the shadows in a weird way. They shouldn't have been as bad as they are.
Yeah, I watched them today against Utah, and they came and they won the game there at the end. And Josh Richardson is very impressive to me. That dude is a basketball player. He's a great defender. He gets stuck guarding threes a little bit too much, but I think that he still can kind of hold his own. Kelly Olynyk has been really, really good for them. He's always been a good screen setter, but I just think like his passing has been important for them this year. I like what they're doing, and Spoelstra is a good coach who's going to get the maximum amount out of his players. I mean, he called a great sideline out of bounds. As a matter of fact, his sideline out of bounds game winner today was the same one that they called for LeBron to win like Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals against
the Pacers?
Indiana.
Yeah. Wait, is that the one that Paul George completely screwed the pooch?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, right. A little like a zipper or something like
It
that.
was a
right?
zipper, and then nice screen, and then you catch the big who's coming up too high, and Richardson actually hit a nice little, just a quick hesitation just to freeze the big, and got him on his back hip, and it was done.
Yeah, it was it was a really hard finish. I know it was like a layup per se, but it was the guy was a fingernail from blocking that thing. And they've won 4 in a row. They're 7-3 in their last 10. So all of a sudden, out of all that, when they weren't even in the playoff hunt really, now they're firmly ensconced in the 5th place, half game behind the Wizards. So that's crazy. You know what? That must mean that we need to do a video on that, because that's what's crazy about what's going on. And by the way, this is all related to threes and the variability we keep seeing. And like, you'll have these wild runs where a team will win 7 out of 10 and they'll lose 8 out of 10, and it's just, a wacky, wild regular season. So because we've seen in the Eastern Conference a lot of shifting going on. The Raptors are now gone on a big run, and we've already talked about them, how good they look. You know what? The East is probably as good as it's been in several years.
Yeah, it's fun. And there's a lot of fun teams in the East, whereas it felt like the last few years that it was just a slog to watch some of these bad teams. But even like the Nets are not a good basketball team, or maybe they are an okay basketball team, but they're fun to watch. And so that's nice that stylistically, at least, we're getting teams that we want to watch. Whether they win or not is debatable. But man, that Jazz Heat game was a lot of fun today. I mean, Donovan Mitchell is just I could watch that guy play exclusively. Like, if you said, hey, you can only watch Donovan Mitchell play basketball, I'll be good. All He's fun. He's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you had him early, so that's you were way on him early. Good, kudos to you. Adam asks, DJ to the Cavs, a good move or no? And that's been whispered around a lot, and I don't know. The Cavs have been doing okay. It's not like they were panicking when LeBron was demanding like more help. Was it last year or whatever year it was? But I don't know. I mean, I'm not even sure how that move would work. Like, what would they trade?
I think they would trade the Nets pick, Tristan Thompson, and maybe Amon Shumpert or Channing Frye or something like that. Right. Yeah, I don't know. Here's my question for you. Does getting DJ win them the title?
No. Right?
It doesn't. But here's what it might do. If LeBron leaves, I forget, I heard this somewhere. I heard it on another podcast. So, guys, I'm trying to remember which one it was, but I can't right off the top of my head. So let's say they make the trade for DJ, and they get a commitment that he's going to re-sign during the summer, but they lose LeBron. So then you've got Isaiah Thomas, who you could probably re-sign, DJ, and Kevin Love. That's a playoff team in the East, even without LeBron. So there's something to that if you don't want to just completely blow it up this summer. With that being said, I don't know. I don't really know if you bother with that. I don't know if DJ, and I like DJ. I think he's a good player, but I don't know if he moves the needle enough to. I don't think you're winning a title because you got TJ.
Right. Well, here's the thing with LeBron. If LeBron leaves, then you want the pick, right? You want to have the pick. And so it's like, in any kind of scenario you're describing, like they make the trade, whatever, and he leaves anyway, and they don't have that pick. It's like, that just seems really rough. Although, again, the Nets continue to kind of, screwing with that whole plan because they're just good enough where it's not as high of a pick as they thought it was going to be, right? There's 3 teams in the East that are worse than them, and 5 teams in the West. So they're the 9th worst team. That's really good. And by the way, remember how much crap we got for saying that before the season started?
Right, yeah.
So much crap. And it's crazy because, and by the way, they're not even playing that well, but like there's other teams clearly that are positioning themselves to get below them. So that's my whole thing. And again, it's because like, what does DJ do? Like, by the way, like Tristan Thompson kind of does exactly what DJ does.
Ooh, I won't know.
Defensively?
No, not at all.
I don't think that DJ is a great like post defensive defender.
He's not. But
And he-
like, there's also not much post ups, right?
And he
like,
blocks shots.
He blocks shots. He's a good rebounder. He's not going to get killed on a switch. Tristan Thompson is unplayable against the Warriors. He just can't be out there.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I felt like he was, not okay on those switches. Yeah. I don't see DJ being any better on those switches in pick and roll than Tristan Thompson.
I think he's better. But I don't think he's better enough to bother with making that trade.
Right.
I agree with you. I think you got to keep that pick unless LeBron tells you he's staying.
And like word in the street is like, so Crowder is maybe playing a little bit better defense now, which is like, that wing defender. They need at least one more of those. And they've given up on Shumpert, it kind of feels like. Is he hurt?
He had knee surgery, yeah.
Oh, that's right. So he hasn't been playing. But even when he was playing, it was almost like they were kind of moving on as it was. So, to me, if you want to beat the Cavs, the Warriors, you got to have, a fantastic point guard defender. And you got to have, which, they don't really have, and you got to have someone to guard KD. LeBron doesn't want to do it. He doesn't guard KD really. So, and even though he probably should. So, I don't see how they match. It's just not a good matchup for them. It's just not the way they're built.
Yeah. Now, with that being said, if you only did things to match up with the Warriors, you probably wouldn't do anything because, you can't really match up with the Warriors. It's a tricky situation. I know Dan Gilbert has asked LeBron if he's staying, and he hasn't given an answer. So
by the way, and I got in trouble when I said, they had Paul George being interviewed during the game the other day, and like when I said, if the dude is not saying I want to retire here, I'm going to raise my kids, and they're going to go to school in the city, like if anything short of that, they're leaving. And I know that like other people said, there are people who promise and then they've left anyway. But all I know is that it's like when you sort of couch a lot of your answers in those like, this is a great city. I have great respect for the whatever like that. Those are just code words for me like that. He's already more than halfway out the door.
Yeah, I think so.
And by the way, LeBron's got two like $20 million homes in L.A. The kids are already living here as far as I understand. They moved from Akron or wherever he was living then. So that's another thing that I'm sure it's why people are thinking he's going to leave. So I don't know. It's an interesting thing. And again, DJ, I think we both agree on that one. There's some interesting questions. Somebody asked about why Wiggins and Towns are so bad at D, and I simply refer you to my video I did a week or two ago on the worst defensive duo, which was Wiggins and Towns, and you'll get your answer.
We got a question about the top three in the draft next year.
Yes.
I don't know how much you've looked.
Well, we know Doncic is in there, right?
I would take Doncic number one.
Yeah.
Just because we've got so much information on him, and I think that what it shows is that he's ready to go.
Yeah.
But my assumption is that it's going to be really, really difficult for whatever team has the number one pick to, unless it's, I guess the Sixers, if they have the number one pick, then they're okay. They probably will take Doncic. But I think Ayton is going to be hard to pass up for a lot of teams just because of how his body, like his size, his movement, the defensive issues notwithstanding, even though he's decent in space, but I think he's going to be hard to pass up. But what were you going to say?
I was just going to think, why would they draft? Why would the Sixers draft Doncic at the point guard position?
Well, Doncic is not going to play the point guard in the NBA. He's going to play the wing.
Oh, interesting.
He's going to be a playmaking wing. He's a good shooter. He's 6'8". He's not going to be able to guard ones in the NBA for whatever that matters.
Right. But again, they already have Simmons. You're right. I guess they'll just play a bunch of 6'8" dudes and Embiid and just destroy teams. Okay.
Working out pretty well for Boston.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
A lineup of Fultz, Doncic, Covington, Simmons, and Embiid is pretty damn good.
Right. And by the way, you get rid of Fultz and you put Saric in there.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
You can kind of
go
they don't
big.
wind up trading Saric, but
All right, because that's big and stretchy at the same time. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, they have a lot of options there. They got to just continue to kind of show some more progress. They did right to ship. They're back in 500 at least, because I feel like they were under 500 for a little while now. They won 4 in a row. So
and Fultz played full contact 5-on-5 today.
Yeah, so they're expecting him back probably before the All-Star game, right?
I would guess so. Be nice, man. If he's as good as we all expected him to be, it'll be like getting a nice free agent acquisition, a rotation player. That's going to be important for this team.
Absolutely. Next question we have is, should Miami trade Whiteside? I mean, that's a question they ask every year, it seems like, every few months.
They don't play him in crunch time.
Yeah.
That probably tells you about as much as you need to know about how they feel about him.
Okay. And does he have value?
See, that's the tricky part, is I don't know. I mean, he's so limited in what he does, and this isn't to say that he's a bad player. He's a good defender.
I mean, listen, the dude averages 14 and 12 and 1.4 blocks in about 25 and a half minutes a game.
Yeah.
So, it's like
he gets numbers, but do his numbers translate to winning basketball?
Right. And that's a hard thing to try and explain to people.
It is.
Because there's other players out there too that get numbers, but maybe they're not making a lot of winning plays, and so you never know how that works and how you can insist. And that happens a lot of times when people will say, "Well, they wouldn't have been in the game without that huge game he had." I said, "Yeah, but then they throws it all away the last 4 minutes by mistakes." So interesting, yeah. So I don't know. I feel like it sounds like they should trade him. They're ready to move on. It's just a question of what they can get for him. And he's got starting center value, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So
I think so. I don't know. It's tricky. It's tricky. He's not a unicorn, but he's being paid like a top 5 center in the league, and I don't think he is.
No. Nope. Let's see here. Another good question. Any trades the Rockets could make to compete with the Warriors, or any crazy trades that could shake the NBA? I don't know. The Rockets, probably the only thing they would want to do is somehow upgrade. But I mean, Anderson works so well for them as far as offensively. And when they're all healthy, then they don't need to do much. I think that I had some criticism the other day when I watched them. Oh my goodness, against somebody, but maybe it was Harden wasn't playing. Maybe Capella was out too. So that was not a good look for them. But you could sense when they are all healthy, I think they have enough to compete and maybe beat them, right?
Yeah, I think so. They have a puncher's chance. They're going to get hot. And that's what's going to really give them an opportunity to win in a playoff series. But with that being said, the Warriors are just the Warriors, and like we saw with Steph Curry the other day, put up 45 in 3 quarters.
Yeah.
And he has just been on fire since he got back. So the Warriors always have that sort of ace in the hole. They can just say, "Hey, Steph, you're going to have the ball the whole time, and we'll run you with pick and rolls with Kevin Durant, and that's it. Game over."
Absolutely. Well, Dave, I think we put some good work in on this one.
Yeah,
what do you say?
I think so. I think so too. Sorry, you broke up for a second there. Yeah, I think this was a good one. I always love taking questions, so we got to do more of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll get back on our schedule. We do our Sunday night pod and one during the week as well, so we'll figure that out. And you're unfrozen again, which is always a cause for rejoice. But we'll get everything fixed in the technical side going better next time. So anyway, great stuff. Looking forward to another week of really good videos coming out. We'll have to figure out what those are going to be. But maybe something on the three-point shooting would be interesting. Anything going up with you?
No. Just gearing up for the end of my season, which is going to be happening over the next 3 weeks.
Nice.
So yeah, I'll be completely unrested until February.
All right. Well, keep the grind going. Keep your ears and eyes open for everything you can see on the NBA beat. Thank you guys for all joining us on the podcast. And don't forget, sports fans, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel, we're a conversation. You in? Are you in, Dave?
Yes, I am.